All right, so you just booked your cruise, and now it's time to get started on the planning of the cruise. And one of the biggest expenses that kind of shocks people are the price shore excursions that you book through the cruise line. I want to show you a way in this video to potentially save thousands of dollars on your next cruise. Right now, I'm on the Azamara Journey, which is a small cruise ship, about 700 passengers. We're in Japan. We've been sailing for the last 2 weeks. We've had a stop every single day. We've had no break, so that means a lot of time on shore, and that also means potentially a lot of expenses if we booked all of our shore excursions through the cruise line. Now, we have other videos and other guides on how to save a lot on your cruise, and I'll link that in the notes below. But I want to show you this example on the screen. I went ahead and I pulled for the next stretch of time all the different cruises that are available for less than $300 per day, meaning for two people, less than $150 per day per person. In fact, many of these are available for under $100 per person per day. There's actually 150 different samples, and that's just on 4 of the major cruise lines. If I added more to the mix, there'd probably be hundreds. And you can see this includes everything, the taxes, the gratuities, and everything else. The only thing it wouldn't include is if you upgrade potentially to Wi-Fi or you want to have the drink packages, but you can see how reasonable this could be. So the wonderful thing is if you book this one, it's $155 for 2 people per night, right? A hotel costs sometimes double that. This includes your food, this includes your entertainment, your transportation, your room. We know that's a wonderful deal, but the problem is a lot of people don't plan for this shocker. Once you plan the cruise, you then want to do things in the ports. So I pulled up a Royal Caribbean cruise that I have coming up here in just a few days that we're going to be on after we get off of this one. And you can see, look at the from prices on these. And this is primarily in Europe is where we'll end up. You would agree, right? This is per person, by the way, per day. So if you start to book a lot of excursions through the cruise line, I think it's pretty safe to say about on average $150 per day per person, and maybe even more. Now, there's definitely some that are cheaper, as you can see, but in my experience, about $125 to $150 per person per day is what the cruise line shore excursions will cost. We'll do the quick math on that. That is actually more than potentially your cruise cost, right? So if you're spending $150 a day or $200 per day for the cruise, but $300 per day on excursions, you've over doubled the cost. I want to show you a way that you can save a lot of money, which is what we've done here on this Japan cruise and what we'll be doing as well in this one coming up. And it doesn't matter the cruise line. Here's an Azamara cruise that we have coming up a little bit later this year in Ireland, all the way up into Oslo. Same thing. You're not going to be surprised. $149 per person, right? 154 per person, 174, 134. You get the idea. These can be expensive. $289. What I have found is many times the cruise excursion you can do on your own. Yes, there's a little bit more preparation involved. You have to sometimes be able to get around, but you'd be amazed how easy that is in most cities, whether it's public transportation, a taxi, an Uber, and many times the cruise line will actually provide a shuttle bus to the main central location. Every single day we've been here in Japan, we've actually had a shuttle bus in virtually every city that took us right into the heart of the city, and then we could explore on our own. We've done a few shore excursions, and it's turned out in most cases we're like, we could have done that ourselves. Now, it doesn't mean there may be an exception. You may sometimes want to go ahead and book an excursion with the cruise line where it makes logistical sense, where the logistics will be just too difficult on your own. Now, I did provide you another video, and I'll link to it as well, how you can use third-party sites such as Viator, Get Your Guide. There's definitely a way to save some on the excursions, but my real secret to saving on these excursions is doing my own research. Now, that used to be a lot of work. Trust me, having done 45, 46 different cruises, it would be spending a lot of time on forums, in Reddit, on cruisecritic.com. It's all doable, Google searches, and it works, but it turns into a bit of a part-time job. So I want to show you a way using Chat GPT, using artificial intelligence, that you can do the same thing of what an expert can do, but do it in literally just minutes. In fact, on this Japan cruise, we've had an amazing person on board. The way that they work in Japan, it's the only cruise that we've ever done like this. Japan, the country, actually puts a shore excursion person on board the entire time, and we get to meet with her, and she gives us maps, recommendations. I haven't ever seen this before. However, what I found out, as great as her recommendations are, the strategy that I'm going to show you, pretty much I'm getting the exact same recommendations from AI. You probably are not going to have this luxury of having somebody on board like we've had. I've never had it before in 45 other cruises, whereas the Chat GPT that I'll show you can do virtually the same thing for you. Now, probably by now, a lot of you are familiar with Chat GPT. If not, it's quite easy to go to chat.open.com, and I'll also link to another link down below where I showed you how to get set up with Chat GPT, and you'll be able to use it right away. And I could literally right now say, for instance, I'm in Kobe, Japan right now. I could say, give me a plan for spending 5 hours in Kobe, Japan on a short excursion. And without telling it anything else about myself, it will come up with a plan. All right, and just like that, it came up with my arrival in Kobe. I didn't tell it at the time, but see, you can start to tell it additional information. Say, hey, we're arriving at 10 o'clock. I would tell it what month I'm arriving, right? Because that's going to matter, maybe seasonality. I would always tell it how much time I have, and you certainly could give it more information on your interest, because right now it's just a bit of a shot in the dark deciding on what you might want to do. But I can tell you right now, this is a pretty good excursion. We did this harbor, we saw the port tower, we did not see this. You could tell it, I want to do museums. I don't want to do museums. We had a Kobe beef lunch, which was amazing. We went up to the ropeway. I believe, we went through this district here. And this is very near the port, this park, American Park. I would probably have to come back and say, hey, that's too long, ChatGPT. Cut this down so it's just 5 hours. And it'll go ahead and give you another short excursion. So this is one way you can do it. And the way that you personalize this a bit more is you can say, please remove any museums. Let's say you're not a museum person, and include more picture spots and other dining recommendations. So you can have a conversation with ChatGPT and personalize it even more for yourself. All right, so you can see it just went ahead and personalized a bit more. It got rid of the museum, I believe. It took me to this waterfall. I know where that is. It's a bit of a walk from the port. Oh, the other thing I can do is I can say, hey, I want to walk. I don't want to walk. Can you give me public transportation recommendations? Just have that conversation. Now, this is way too long. You can see it's still insisting on giving me an 8-hour schedule, but I could tell it, please reduce that down to just 5 hours. Let's see if it listened to me this time. Yeah, I think it did a better job here listening to me a bit more. And back to the return to port. Yes, that's about right, actually, in this case. So it cut it down a little bit. So that is definitely one way to do it. Now, another way to do it is if you have ChatGPT, what a lot of people don't realize is if you get ChatGPT Plus, now I realize it's got a small fee, $20 per month. However, think about how much those short excursions were, right? One short excursion for two people is $300. So if you got ChatGPT for $20, you can actually create your own personalized short excursion programs. I created one, which I'll share with you in the link, called Shore Explorer. And I programmed this, and believe me, I'm not a programmer, but I just talked to ChatGPT and I said, hey, let's create a shore excursion ChatGPT specifically for this. And I've already built in all of those questions, and it's thinking about specifically what you would want on a shore excursion. I'm going to give you the link down below the video, and you can just take that link and paste it in. And as long as you set up an account at ChatGPT and get ChatGPT Plus, you'll be able to use this. And then all I really need to go is I can type in Kobe, for instance, and it will come up with a full plan for me, but it'll probably ask me very specific questions before it does that. All right, so now we're having a conversation. It's going to ask me probably some questions. He wants to know how long I have in port, what month I'm traveling, what some of my interests are. See, this is going to have a bit more of a very specific conversation. I've programmed all of this in there, so it will give you a really optimized short excursion experience without having to have too many steps back and forth. What I just showed you a moment ago, literally, you could never have done this before. You could do that in 5-10 minutes and have an incredible excursion planned for you for the day, which probably would have typically taken me 2 to 4 hours on my own. So imagine getting that in about 10 minutes and saving $300. Now, with this, in probably about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even 1 minute, I can get a fully thought out short excursion and save myself hundreds of dollars in really just a couple minutes. All right, so now I've added in, answered its questions, and I'll go ahead and talk back to the chat, and it will put together the plan for me. All right, so now it acknowledges what I just asked it, and it's going to go ahead and give me really probably an ideal optimized plan that, again, probably would have taken you a long time on your own and certainly would cost a lot of money if I was to do the same thing with the cruise line. So look how good this is. Now, I probably should have told it that we're in at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it'll personalize it from there. But I already know on this is about a 15-minute walk, so very easily to get to that. This, for me, is about a 40, 45-minute walk, so I could come back and tell it, hey, I don't want to walk that far, or is there public transit? In Japan, it's very easy to take the train, but this is very walkable too. Certainly, the lunch recommendation here, since it didn't give me specific lunch recommendation, I could say, hey, lunch sounds good. Give me specific recommendations, and I could tell it the cuisine that I'm looking for, and it would personalize this part as well with good reviewed restaurants. This makes a lot of sense because it's back down to where the ship is. So it's going to be really easy to get back on board, not miss the ship. Then it gives me some additional tips here as well. It's a bit of walking uphill, which is exactly right. We did that today to the herb garden, and then some other helpful advice. Each destination 10 to 20 minutes walk. So you can see I've already personalized all of this for you. You may ask, how can I develop one of these yourself? You don't have to be a programmer. All you have to do is go here and just go create a GPT. That's just what they call this. And you just start. It says, what would you like to make? And all I start doing is I just have a conversation with this. And I say, I want to create a shore excursion, and you'll see it'll start to ask you more specific questions. This is all I did. I went back and forth, asked multiple questions, and then I configured it. I added more and more to it. Each time I would output, I'm like, oh, it's not actually looking for this specifically, or it's not giving me enough advice on something else. You just continue to have this conversation as you create your personalized Shore Explorer. You can even put things that matter to you that maybe don't matter to me. You can say, never do this, or always do this, or keep it low cost. You can do all that. And you'll see it'll go through this. It'll ask you to name it. It'll give you a suggestion at first, and then you'll just go step by step, and it'll start to personalize it. You're literally becoming an AI programmer in a conversation. It's really amazing. That's exactly how I program Shore Explorer myself, and I'm going to share that with you below. Feel free, make your own. Make it really specific to you, because again, I got to stress, think about how much this is going to save you. $20 per month to save you. Potentially on my cruise, I saved about $3,096 on not taking certain short excursions. That's a lot of money, right? Many times it's more than the cruise itself. All right, so I want to wrap this one up there. I hope that saves you a lot of money. I hope this has been really useful advice. Let me know down below if you go ahead and use it, what you go ahead and you plan with, or if you have any other suggestions as well. I'd be happy to see those and hear those as well. So have a great time on your trips. And by the way, you don't have to do this just for cruising. You may go and visit a city, right? Maybe you're going to New York City or Los Angeles or Barcelona or Paris, expensive cities. This works exactly the same way. It doesn't have to be a short excursion either. The planning is the same. The savings absolutely can be the same as well. All right, take care, everybody. Back in another video soon.